On today's episode of You Asked, another question about Dolby Vision 2 and whether or not it'll be available via update to streaming devices. What's the best TV to avoid the soap opera effect? And is the 48-inch version of the LG G5 on par with the rest of the lineup? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is You Asked, the show where we answer your tech questions. If you've got something you want to know, send your question to youasked@digitaltrends.com. And don't forget to tune into the show to see if your question has been selected. The first question this week comes from Tokyo Rekinati, who says, what's the best TV for people who do not like the soap opera effect? So if you don't know what they're referencing in this question, the soap opera effect is when the TV, in an attempt to make the picture smoother, creates extra frames in the image. But especially with cinematic content like movies and shows presented in the standard 24 frames per second, it starts to smooth things out too much and makes it look like a soap opera, which were typically filmed at 60 frames per second. It's just not a good mix. But the best TV for people who don't like it is probably the one you already have, assuming you have the settings available in the menu to make the right changes. Even the best TVs, if left unadjusted from the factory settings out of the box, could have motion smoothing not just turned on, but turned to a high level to smooth out the picture. It's handy for sports or high frame rate content that you want to see clearly, but kills the natural motion blur that should be present in movies and shows. So, Tokyo and anyone else wondering about this, what you'll want to do is go into your TV's picture settings and find the motion clarity settings. It comes in a variety of names depending on the brand, but look for things like clarity, motion flow, true motion, picture clarity, motion enhancement, the list goes on. Basically anything with the words motion or clarity. Then turn it off or at least reduce it to a more tolerable level. It may take a bit of experimenting, but it's something that you should be able to change without buying an entirely new TV. If you're looking for your specific brand, we've got videos suggesting which settings to change to improve your viewing experience specific to each one on the channel. Sony, TCL, Samsung, you name it. We go over motion clarity and a whole lot more, so I highly recommend checking those out. Rico Tarek has the next question, and I'll do my best with it since it's still a bit vague and confusing, and because I'm waiting for an answer from Dolby on a few things, so hey, Dolby, if you're seeing this, thanks in advance. Anyway, Rico asks, if a third-party device does support Dolby Vision 2, like an Apple TV 4K or Amazon Fire Stick, can it do all the processing and project it to the TV with only a software update needed on the TV to accept this upgrade signal since HDMI 2.1 already supports dynamic metadata? Basically, Rico wants to know if this is a workaround from needing to upgrade your TV to get a Dolby Vision 2 picture if it's supported by your streaming box. From what I've read, in theory, I would think it's possible to get at least some of the benefits of Dolby Vision 2 that way. A significant portion of what Dolby Vision 2 brings to the table is the new metadata, which enables content to adapt intelligently to different display capabilities and viewing environments while preserving creative intent on Dolby Vision 2 devices. Those are their words, pretty much exactly. So, as long as there was a way for your streaming device to know which specific display, which TV, it's sending the picture to, you'd think it could process that and send an enhanced Dolby Vision 2 version of the content to your TV. On their frequently asked questions page relating to Dolby Vision 2, the company states that existing Dolby Vision content can be optimized for Dolby Vision 2 devices without needing to regrade the content. So, to some degree, it sounds like a firmware update could be able to do some of the lifting. But two things give me pause. One is that, in general, when have we ever gotten really great updates for free? Not very often. That's just my opinion and pessimism given how things in consumer tech usually go. The second thing, though, comes from what Dolby referenced all over their website: Dolby Vision 2 devices. While the existing content can be optimized for Dolby Vision 2, it just seems like the display side of things is more hardware involved, and there's not a whole lot said about it from TV manufacturers just yet. There's a lot not being said, and this is just what my research tells me, but if you know more or even just care to speculate, the comment section is available. Jiggle is up next and says, I just found out that the LG G5 comes in a 48-inch form factor. What's the difference between that and the 55-inch G5? Is it the best TV in the 48-inch category, and what is a good competitor to it? I find processing and upscaling very important, any difference between the LG C5 42-inch. Now, for a little more background on that question, the 48-inch G5 is available in the UK, but not in North America, so don't get your hopes up too much if you're here in the States. But from what I've seen, the 48-inch version does not have the RGB tandem panel that the larger sizes do. So there's a hit to brightness when comparing it to the 55-inch model. That said, it does sound like it's still brighter than the LG C5, even if it's not at the level of the rest of the G5 lineup. There's a pretty good thread on Reddit from someone who tested and measured the 48-inch and 55-inch versions of the G5 and has the numbers to compare them with the C5. You'll find it with a good Google search. As for other competition, since there aren't too many high-end OLED TVs available at 48 inches, the only competition seems to be Samsung's S90F, but it has a similar setback. At 55, 65, and 77 inches, it has a QD OLED panel, great for color volume and brightness, but at 48 inches, it's the standard WOLED panel. At least in comparing the 48-inch G5 and C5, it seems like the G5 still has something special that gives it an edge over the standard WOLED panel. So my guess is it's gonna look better than the Samsung S90F. Again, this is all based on what I could find on a TV that's pretty limited in terms of availability. Finally, JJ718 asks, in response to our review of last year's Vizio Quantum Pro, what other TV in this price range would be decent for gaming? I want something with at least a 120Hz refresh rate and not a ton of lag. And I should note they probably asked that question because that Vizio TV was a little bit disappointing. The good news, there are a few options even within that price range, currently about $600 to $650 for a 65-inch model. Check out the Hisense U65QF and TCL QM6K, a couple of 2025 models that perform better in terms of upscaling and contrast respectively. I also think you'll find their smart TV interfaces, Fire TV on the Hisense and Google TV on the TCL, a little more streamlined to use. But that could just be me since I've used those systems a lot more than Vizio's home screen. Again, both of those options are about $600 at 65 inches, but if you've got a little more room in the budget, the TCL QM7K, I would say, is significantly better than the Vizio option. And if you're good with 55 inches, it's on sale for about $620 right now. As always, these prices go up and down. I usually use Best Buy to look at sale pricing, but typically it's pretty close across most retailers. Always be sure to see who will price match and what discounts are also available in store. That's it for this week's episode. I hope it helped. Be sure to get those questions into youasked@digitaltrends.com, and we'll see you again soon.
Elevate your smartphone with the Digital Trends app bundle. 17 premium apps in one plan. From productivity to entertainment, it's all here. Start your free trial today by clicking the link in the description.